What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here's the Jitical Response. I cover political news, and folks, we've got some problems in this country. The Democrats have gone loony. They're Looney Tunes up in here, man. It's getting ridiculous, right? You get Donald Trump come in and shook everything up, and you know the one thing I can say Donald Trump did that was genuinely a good thing. Like, he did a lot of stuff that was pretty good, but it's genuinely a good thing. He showed that Democrats have malicious intent upon the citizens of this country, and they are children. They are absolutely children. When they don't get their way, they throw temper tantrums. I mean, look what they've done to the man. Look what they have done to the man, and look what they're trying to do now. He puts in 3 Supreme Court justices, and they lose their freaking minds. Lose their freaking minds, because we've been having a very liberal Supreme Court for a long time. For a very long time. And the Democrats have been getting their way with the Supreme Court for a very, very long time. And now that all that's changed, all of a sudden, the Supreme Court has a legitimacy problem. Imagine that. I wonder why. Trump puts 3 conservative Supreme Court justices on the circuit, and all of a sudden, they got a legitimacy problem. They start going after these people, right? Like Kavanaugh. The confirmation process for Kavanaugh was outright garbage. They tried to destroy that man. And for what? Like, they drummed up bogus charges on the guy. Tried to get all these people to come in and say he assaulted them. That he took advantage of these women. What? None of their stories made any sense. They're doing the same thing to Trump. Right? Like, they use that as a tool. They make something up. And then be like, oh, well, no, he was found liable for rape. Like, no, I'm sorry. No, that's not how this works. You can't change a law to allow for a 30-year-old case to come in that makes no sense whatsoever. Right? Like this, with Trump, it all happened in broad daylight. In a department store. Yeah, freaking right. Like, try to sell that to somebody else, because I'm not buying that. And the only reason he was even convicted upon this is because it was in New York. You go anywhere to any jury that has any semblance of no bias, they'd say, get out of here with that. It's garbage. It's garbage. But let's get into the story. Dem senator introduces bill that would add 6 Supreme Court seats, expand federal judiciary. Now, some of this I like. Some of it's okay. Most of it is just whinging by the Democrats, folks. Democratic Oregon Senator Ron Wyden introduced a bill that would add 6 seats to the Supreme Court and radically transform the federal judiciary, his office announced Thursday. Wyden's Judicial Modernization and Transparency Act would expand the Supreme Court to 15 justices over 12 years. It would also increase the number of federal circuit courts to 15, adding more than 60 new circuit judges and 100 new district court judges. Now, hey, that's fine. You want to expand the federal circuit? Sure. Probably needs expansion. The country is expanding. And how long has it been since we've expanded the federal circuit? Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, modernization, yeah, that's good. Why are you adding more Supreme Court justices, though? Why is that? Yeah, these people are whinging, folks. They are whinging. No, 9 is fine. 9 is good. It's a good balance. It's a very good balance. The Supreme Court is in crisis, and bold solutions are necessary to restore the public trust, Wyden said in a statement. Why is it in crisis, Wyden?
Why? Because they're not resolving cases in such a manner that you think they should? Is that it? Because nothing has really changed except the makeup. You got more conservative justices than you do liberal justices, and they are overturning some of this garbage that the very liberal Supreme Court has passed in recent decades. Yeah, is that why? Because you don't like how they're resolving cases. Yeah, I think these people are just throwing a temper tantrum. More transparency, more accountability, and more checks on a power-hungry Supreme Court are just what the American people are asking for. No, they're not. I'm totally fine with the Supreme Court. They're doing a damn good job, in my opinion. Where is the blood clot here? Because it's not a liberal Supreme Court anymore? Is that why? These people, like, blow my mind on a constant basis. They never cease to amaze me with their antics that they try to pull because they're not getting their way. It's crazy, y'all. JCM President Kerry Cervino wrote on X that the bill is the worst attack on the court since FDR. Franklin D. Roosevelt's proposal to pack the court in 1937 failed after facing bipartisan opposition. Yeah, you can't go and pack the court because you don't like the makeup of the current makeup of the court. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't do that. These people hate democracy, folks. This is part of our democratic process, right? This is part of the republic. This is how it was set up in the first place. Why do these people continually attack democracy? And then they call Trump a threat to democracy. These people are just losing their freaking minds, and it's because they're not getting their way. Once again, folks, temper tantrum. Currently, conservatives have a majority on the Supreme Court with 6 of the 9 justices appointed by Republican presidents. Along with expanding the court, the bill would require the Supreme Court and circuit courts to establish a 2/3 majority to overturn laws passed by Congress on constitutional grounds. Now, this is a good idea. However, I do see a little bit of hypocrisy going on with this. Because why? They want to destroy the filibuster rule, which just so happens to be you need a 2/3 majority to pass certain legislation. They want to get rid of that for abortion. But yet they want to implement that for the Supreme Court? Come on, man. You guys need some consistency here. Please, bring me some consistency, and I will logically look at what you're doing. But when you just whinge because you're not getting your way, I'm sorry. I'm going to view that as a temper tantrum, and I'm going to dismiss any legislation you may want to pass as ridiculous. It also required the IRS to initiate an audit of each justice's income tax return and release the returns within 60 days of filing. Once again, they're just whinging because of Clarence Thomas, because he took a vacation, because he has a friend that happens to be a billionaire, and that billionaire paid for him to go on vacation. There were no cases that involved that billionaire. So why is there a problem with this? The man can't have a billionaire friend? Like, that's one of the most ridiculous attacks on Clarence Thomas I think I've ever seen. And if you really want to see a very insane confirmation, go back and look up, I think it was the early 90s, it might have been the late 80s, the confirmation of Clarence Thomas. Holy crap. These people, you could tell, the Democrat Party was still very, very racist at that time. And you could tell with that confirmation process. And they want to act like they've changed. Folks, there's still a lot of older Democrats in the Democrat Party. And they're still very, very racist. Don't get it twisted, folks. Don't get it twisted. Democrats have repeatedly attacked conservative justices over alleged ethics violations since ProPublica first reported last year on expensive paid trips Justice Clarence Thomas took with his friend, the billionaire real estate developer Harlan Crow. ProPublica is funded by many of the same groups that called on Thomas to resign or be investigated, the Daily Caller News Foundation reported last year. And is right, once again, whinging, trying to drum up controversy and then go in on that controversy as if it's resolved or something, as if they're guilty. Like, this is the playbook
by the Democrats. It's called a wrap-up smear. Nancy Pelosi explained this pretty good.
Hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
Supreme Court nominations that are stalled over 180 days in committee would be automatically put on the Senate calendar for a vote per the bill text. That's not a bad idea either. This shows Democrats' entire ethics smear campaign against justices was a pretext to pack the court. Scherer Jaffe told law firm partner and senior fellow at Center for Renewing America, Mark Paoletta, wrote on X. Democrats don't want an independent Supreme Court despite attacks on justices. Court's approval rating is much higher than the dismissal 20% for Congress. Yeah, that's true too. Clean up your own house. Yes, they should. Yes, they most definitely should. Once again, they're very hypocritical, if you will. Once again, they want to destroy the filibuster, which implements a 2/3 majority rule, just to pass some certain legislation, and then they want to implement that onto the Supreme Court when you're willing to nuke that option, by the way, to get some legislation passed. Corrupt, folks. They are corrupt. In July, President Joe Biden proposed placing term limits on justices, creating a binding code of ethics, and passing an amendment to reverse the Supreme Court's presidential immunity ruling. Vice President Kamala Harris supported his proposals. Once again, because they didn't get their way, they want to whinge and throw a hissy fit and get all bent out of shape. All of a sudden, we need to restructure all this because it's not working to our advantage. That's what they're telling you with this. That is exactly what they're telling you with this. These people are insane. They don't care about this country. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me for sure, because I'm bashing them currently because they're insane. Like, I don't want to go after Democrats, right? There are some good Democrats out there, and if there were more Democrats out there, you might just see me voting Democrat. You know, but they're just so insane with some of their legislation, some of their proposals, and their hypocrisy knows no bounds. It's crazy to me that they think they can get away with some of the stuff they try to get away with, and that people aren't just going to notice, right? Like, a lot of people don't, though. That's the thing. But that's what I'm here for, because a lot of people don't see the hypocrisy. I was watching a debate earlier, and some of these people were just outright crazy. They were literally arguing over the good people on both sides hoax. Yes, there are still people out there that believe that Trump called neo-Nazis good people. What? At this day and age, they still believe that. Some of these people are just in the dark, and they just don't know. So it's hard to blame these people. They haven't had their eyes opened yet. They are walking around blind. But you know what's bad? These people vote. Yeah, right, like, voting should not be easy. That's why Democrats they want sheep to vote. They don't want you informed. That's why the corporate press constantly lies to you about everything. That's why people like me get shadow banned and my videos don't get circulated like they should. They don't want you informed, because that's what I do. I read the news. I give you my opinion, sure, but I read the news and give you the facts. Right? Like, I wasn't all this hyper partisan when I first started doing this. Oh no, most definitely wasn't. But reading the news has shown me that Democrats just do not care about this country. They do not care about tradition in this country. They do not care about the way things are supposed to work. They want to progress society way too far and way too fast. And we do need progressives, by the way. I'm still a firm believer in that. That progressives show society where to go, and conservatives kind of figure out how we're going to get there, if we're even going to go that direction at all. That's what I believe. I have a firm belief in that. But what they're doing right now is insane. They're pushing us way too far, way too fast, and in many directions that we really don't need to go. Like all this gender ideology garbage is just ridiculous. Just outright ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. You can't go along with it. If you got 85,000 gender identities, how the hell am I supposed to identify you? I can't. That will never, ever work, considering there's only two sexes. There's only two. Right? That's just ridiculous garbage. It really is. And it kind of doesn't matter. Like, I'm sorry, if I misgender you, according to you, right? Like, that's something that just clashes, that nobody seems to get, or a lot of people don't seem to get. You know, you got these progressives that are these, I'll say, trans people, some of these people that identify in weird ways. Like, they consider misgendering, like, if it's a man that wants to identify as a woman, and I call him a man, he considers that misgendering. But you know what? If I called him a her, I consider that misgendering. So who is right? Right? You would think it would be up to the person. But how are you going to blame me for that? No, I don't have to conform to your ideology. I'm sorry. Sure, if you asked me to, yes, that's fine. Respect. That's what it's all about. You got to give some respect to receive some respect. And that's what a lot of these people, they don't have respect for the other side, our beliefs, our way of life, which is a traditional way of life. It's not this progressive garbage. You've got to show us why your ideology works better than what has been working for a very, very long time, since the beginning of human history, especially on this gender ideology garbage. You have to show me how that works better. It doesn't. I personally think you might be in a delusional state. We would need to sit down and talk for a while for me to be convinced otherwise. And yeah, these people are hard to talk to. But that's something that this society these days, you don't get enough of. Respect. We need a lot more respect. Respect given, respect taken. We need a lot more of that. We need a whole lot more of that. But let's finish this thing out. Oh, it was finished out. Sorry. Yeah, I did read this article. I didn't read all of it before I came out here to do this, but, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes I don't finish reading the article. I'll see the first few paragraphs, and I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go in on it. So a lot of the times, when you're getting the news, I'm also getting the news and reacting to it in real time. And folks, you know, I'm gonna brag on myself a little bit these days. I've noticed recently that I'm able to get out here and do this with a whole hell of a lot less cuts. Like, I noticed the past just couple of weeks, you know, I've gone down from having like maybe 10 cuts where I needed to stop, or I paused for too long to think about what to say, to having like 2 to 3. I've done several videos in the past week with 0 cuts. 0. None at all. I was just able to talk, didn't screw up while I was reading, none of that. So I'm kind of proud of that. So, you know, let me know down in the comments if you think that's okay. If you go back, if you're new to this channel, go back and look at one of my first videos that I've done, right? It's not going to be the first couple. Like, if you go to the little deal, my archive, and click oldest, you'll see a couple of just reaction videos I did. But you'll see, you know, a couple of videos down, it'll say biased news. That's what I started off calling this logistical responses, biased news. I don't know why, it was ridiculous, but go watch one of those videos. It's cringe-inducing for sure. I'm sure you won't watch but maybe a minute or two of it, but it's like night and day. I did this the other day, and I was just like, wow, my progression has been insane, to say the least. And yeah, and back then, I was having to make jump cuts like constantly. I couldn't talk for more than 10-15 seconds without pausing, stopping, or, I'd screw up reading because I wasn't used to it, because I'm not a talker, right? Like out in public, I don't start conversations ever with anybody. If, I'm social, but if you talk to me, I'll start talking, but I won't talk your freaking head off. Not like I'm doing right now. Not like I'm just ranting and railing about all kinds of garbage. I will not do that at all. Like most people that know me, they watch a video and they're like, holy crap, that's wild. You're a totally different person. Yeah. Well, this is what's running through my head constantly. What you see on video is my thoughts brought to life, is what that is. Yeah, this is happening constantly in my head. I'm constantly thinking about stuff, constantly just blah, 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 arguing with myself. Should I think this way? Should I blah, 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 blah? You get it. It's just crazy to me that I'm slowly being capable of taking those thoughts and just spitting them out and having it come out consistently, clearly, and me not really screwing up a whole hell of a lot. I'm kind of proud of myself, to be honest with you. I know I'm a very humble person, generally speaking, and I never talk good about myself, but, I thought it was okay to do every once in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I've rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Do you think this is just the Supreme Court, just the Democrats whinging because they're not getting their way with the Supreme Court? Because we just so happen to have more conservative justices than we do liberal justices. That's what I think it is, because they weren't proposing none of this 10 years ago, were they? No, thought hadn't crossed their freaking mind. And that's very telling to me. Very telling. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.